Hi, and welcome to Junior Achievement Inspire Virtual Training, which is recorded. My name is Sholay Norvash, and I am the Education Manager for JA of the Chisholm Trail. In just a few short moments, I will have a PowerPoint that will walk us through what to expect for JA Inspire Virtual. Here we go. Again, just as a reminder, our live expo date is March 9th, 2022. So for those of you that are not super familiar with Junior Achievement, or in short, JA, some fun facts is that JA has been around for at least 100 years. And this year, JA is being nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. It's one of the largest and oldest youth service organizations in the United States. In regards to Fort Worth, Texas, we've been around since 1956, and we just celebrated our 65th birthday. And we utilize community volunteers to help us inspire and prepare young people to succeed in the global economy. Our programs impact at least 20,000 students per year, and we utilize at least 1,700 volunteers to bring that real world experience for each student. Our pathways of success is work readiness, financial literacy, and entrepreneurship. What to expect in this recording. Our bullet points, what to expect, how to prepare and engage students, our live expo date, which again is March 9th, 2022, and after the event, what happens. What to expect. So this is pretty simple. This is a program where it's both classroom-based, which is our pre-event sessions, and event-based, which is our J Inspire Virtual Expo, again, March 9th, 2022. And then we have our post-event session, our reflection. In the pre-sessions, I will go over in a little more detail in just a minute in the teacher's guide that's right here hyperlinked. Just know that in total, there are 7 sessions. 1 is the expo, and the first 5 are the pre-work sessions that need to be completed by March 3rd. So that way there's enough time for students to understand JA Inspire Virtual. And you guys will also have time to watch the demo that's located on YouTube. And later in this recording, I will show you where it is. Let's jump right into the teacher's guide. So this is the teacher's guide. This is obviously the title, and middle school. We also have high school. Teacher's guide is very detailed, and I will go over in an outline fashion for timing purposes, but it goes over what the purpose is, goes over our program objectives, what to expect, and then it goes into description, again, what JA Inspire Virtual is, which is a career-based event filled with learning experiences that are designed by individual industry teams to align with the industry, what the industry will need from its future employees. Then it goes into how to prepare. Students are going to receive a virtual guidebook, which is currently being worked on to localize the content. However, our teacher's guide, obviously, we're going through right now. And then it gets broken down into sessions. I'm going to jump down to our program overview. And this is going to be our session 1, career interest and youth path. So the neat thing about this is that it times everything out for you. Teacher, intro, develop a career plan. There's an intro and a video, which takes about 10 minutes. Career interest inventory, which takes about 20 minutes. And then it even goes over a teacher wrap up, which takes about 5 to 10 minutes. So it breaks it down for you minute by minute. And it also goes through the type of worksheets and then the objectives, your takeaways from each session prior to the expo. Now, keep in mind, each session is about 45 45 minutes long, which is the length of your class period, typically in most classrooms. There are lesson plans, there are fillable PDFs, but please make sure to save them first to be able to fill in the PDFs. There are embedded videos, there's a list of webinars, there's activities and other resources, because you may have students that work faster than others. Goes through session 2, goes through what the worksheets are and what the objectives to learn. And then also the pathways of competency. Now, keep in mind the state of Texas has TEAC standards, which we are currently in the process of receiving the middle school TEAC standards. And we will go over the resource guide online, and I can show you where that is. Here's session 3. Here's session 4. Here's session 5. And session 6 is going to be Inspire Virtual. And session 7, which is our reflection for students. In this teacher's guide, keep in mind it's also going to mimic the student guide, so it's easy to follow along. And further in this guide, it's going to go into much more detail. So in our first session, it talked about the video, so it's already hyperlinked for you. The career assessment, which is already hyperlinked for you in the teacher's guide. And it goes into much more detail. And if those kiddos that probably work faster than others or work better independently, we have extended learning activities for them, which are also hyperlinked in the teacher's guide itself. And it goes through each session like that, 1 through 7. Again, we also, our session 2 in this 3 segments is J Inspire Virtual Expo. Our launch date is March 9th, 2022. And I will, in our resource guide, show you the actual demo that we have that you can show your students to get an idea of what to expect the day of the J Virtual Expo event. And then session 3, our post-event session. So this is a time for students to reflect as to what they've learned in this experience. All right, here we go. This is going to be our resource center. So this is a Google site that I designed. And this is going to be, for all intents and purposes, like a one-stop shop. So that way you don't have to hunt into several different areas. You can go into primarily one area to locate all the resources that you need for this program. So we have our expo date, which is March 9th, the time of our expo date. Then we also have our sponsors who contributed to this program listed here from Fidelity and Wells Fargo Bank. And then again, this is the introduction to J Inspire Virtual of the Chisholm Trail. And this here is our demo. Now, I already know that the sound does not work, but I will briefly go through it with you so you can get an idea as to what the demo looks like. But as you can see here, before I press play, you are going to have the outside of the auditorium. Now, initially, and I'm just going to drag through it, when you first walk in, you're going to get a welcome message from our mayor of Fort Worth. There she is. And then within the mayor of Fort Worth, after that message, you go into our auditorium. Right here. And if you can look here on the sides, you have different career clusters. And as you can see, they can click on it to gain more information. And then we have our exhibit hall, and then we have our entrepreneur lounge. And here at the bottom are other choices that each student can take. And you can also see all the representatives that have booths possibly, which is like, I believe, Rainwater, Fidelity, and Apex are some examples. Then it goes into speakers, and this is Jakayla Dixon, who was an alumni of Fort Worth Junior Achievement of the Chisholm Trail, who gives a speech. And then you have the tabs here on the side that makes more choices. Speakers. Here are our virtual booths from each company. And the fun fact about this is that on the live date, there will be a Q&A session, and students will be able to ask different companies different questions. Now, please keep in mind the student will ask a question and it will not be brought live because it will have to be filtered to make sure that the questions are appropriate. And if it gets out of hand, Junior Achievement will be notified and will notify the proper people. And as you can see at the bottom here, the demo is about 5.5 minutes. So in this resource guide, again, this is our overview. This is particularly middle school, gives a brief overview of the program, what our program highlights are. Also, the outline that we just went through in the teacher's guide. All righty, and we're back to our Google site. This is me, who you can contact if you have any questions or concerns. My email address is here, my phone number is here, and this is my extension. And these are resources and trainings specifically for educators. As you can see, we already had one on February 8th, and it was a Zoom link. We have one coming up on the 16th. And then we also have flex training for Fort Worth ISD. And my understanding is that on the 16th, it's going to be another Zoom link. So as soon as we find out the time, the Zoom link will be uploaded. Now let's kind of go over, before we get into VFairs and the platform to register, I want to be able to provide you guys with more information, which is our educator packet. So this is, in a nutshell, our educator packet. And as I was explaining before in the demo, here is our backdrop, which is the lobby of that demo. So inside the packet is some fun facts about J Virtual Inspire and who it impacted last year. And then the next several pages are breakdowns of the actual video, as you can see in the screenshots. So here, this is our landing page, which we'll go over in just a second. This is the convention center, the outside. This is our virtual auditorium, and it goes through each. So that way it matches what you're seeing the day of the expo. Again, on the back of the educator packet, gives a program overview of J Inspire Virtual, also gives the program overview that we saw on the resource guide of middle school. And we went through this in more detail in the teacher's guide. This is just another arena that educators can take a look at. And then our frequently asked questions. And then the results of J Inspire Virtual in 2021. And as you can see, the educator survey results are 100%. In the back has why J Inspire, and then also again, my contact information if you need to get a hold of me. All right. So we are going to head into our login for JA Inspire Virtual. Again, our launch date is March 9th, 2022. The time is 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And as far as registering your classes, JA will actually assist in registering, and we are also aware that there are no passwords because last year it made things very difficult. I will show you a little bit how to log in, because if I log in, it's going to show you a back end of what I see and not what you would see as the educator. But very simply, you put in your email address that is registered with us, and then you put in your password. And there is our demo. And this is where you go in to enter. Now, please keep in mind, this is last year's, but essentially this is what it looks like. And I'll show you a brief how we enter in. And that was our mayor. Now, if your district wants to use a student email address to reduce confusion on the student's part, we can provide that when we reach out to our teachers to begin registering them and students for the VFair platforms. So keep that in mind. Our best practice at JA is to simplify everything for the educators. Alrighty. My PowerPoint has a mind of its own. Now, please make sure that VFairs and FlipSnack, which is another program, are not blocked by the school or the district by firewalls. And it's going to vary depending on your district. And I'm going to show you the pre-event survey. And it's super important for students to complete the pre-survey prior to the expo. So this is the pre-survey in and of itself, specifically for middle school, and it's going to ask you a series of questions. And I believe that there are, 22 questions. And then once you're complete, you hit complete and you're done. Again, please ensure that every student completes the pre-event survey prior to the expo date. So students will be assigned to work through a digital workbook, and you can walk through them together. And then also the demo, which we went over through the Google site. Please make sure to go over it with them. And as far as enrolling students, as I said before, for the VFairs platform, myself or other JA staff will coordinate with teachers, and students will be provided a login credential. And then educators will also receive a login, and JA staff like myself will help educators enroll. All right, so we are at the live expo day. Now, again, I know I've probably said this several times. So the virtual career simulation, the Q&A is going to start from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and it will be staffed with live volunteers. Students can download exhibitor content in their digital backpacks. So the great thing about this is that as they go through the virtual fair, they'll be able to download PDFs that will provide information about specific career clusters in the virtual event, and they have access to this a year after the launch date. Students will also be able to ask an expert, which is somebody that specifically works for a particular employer that is in a career cluster or career booth in the expo in and of itself. And students will also be able to visit an auditorium and listen to motivational speakers and get more information about exhibitors. They have the exhibit halls to go through. And if you are into social media, don't forget hashtag JInspire Fort Worth, and we abbreviate it for FW. All righty. So our class completion form, this is done after the event, and it looks very much like a Google form. So make sure that that gets completed after the event, which is after all 7 sessions are completed. Again, as a reminder, educators and students will have access to the career fair for 1 year after the event, and students will be able to log in from home so they can share wonderful information with their guardians, with their parents, with their grandparents, with their friends. And educators will be able to utilize the same information to enhance their learning in their classroom. Again, this is my information. My first name is Sholay. My last name is Nordash, and I'm the education manager here. And if you need anything else, please feel free to contact me. Take care.